No Doubter Nation, good evening. It is Thursday, actually, excuse me, Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. This is our weekly college baseball recap, and in this instance, a preview of Omaha. We are just under 48 hours away from the start of the 2022 College World Series, the penultimate event in college baseball, where it all comes down to this: the elite eight of college baseball, the eight best teams remaining out of a field of 64 that started just a couple of weeks ago, and we get to see how it all unfolds. It's where the highest level of college baseball is played. It all culminates here, Omaha, Nebraska. Greatest time of the year for the sport of college baseball. I'm your co-host, Travis T-Bone Lawfully. Normally, I'm joined here as well by my co-host, Barrett Boom Bostic. Fortunately, he's not feeling great this evening, so I'm flying solo here with y'all tonight. If you're watching this show, if you're watching it here on our live stream, go ahead and share it, comment on it. I can see your comments that come in here. Like it. Wherever you're watching this from, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, our either Boom and I's personal accounts, just wherever you're watching this here, we want you to interact with this. We want you to share it. We want you to help get the word out about No Doubter here. We just however you can interact with this program here, it helps us grow it, helps out with our show and the algorithm, helps get exposure, and we would really love that here. And can't thank y'all enough for y'all who have been joining us the entire season here. So we've talked about college baseball action every single week. You know, it started out just a little fun thing back in February, back when Major League Baseball was still up in the air. It's grown into something that Boom and I have put a lot of work into every week. And we know, some of y'all have learned about the sport as well through this year and have joined us maybe a little bit later on, or you're joining us for the first time here. Welcome, no matter when you've joined us. We immensely appreciate it here. It's a huge part of what we do in No Doubter, and we certainly love the sport. And we love bringing the attention to it here at the collegiate level. So I myself too am feeling a little bit tired this evening, so won't keep y'all for too long. Won't go on for too terribly long about what to expect here with Omaha. But I mean, that's ultimately the reason why I'm recording this show. Why here I'm getting behind the mic, getting behind the camera, is to preview the field of eight for the College World Series 2022 in Omaha, Nebraska. We first off, we got to talk about the super regionals that did happen over this past weekend. Super regionals, starts out every postseason in the NCAA tournament. It's a full 64 field of teams. That happens in 16 different regional sites across the country, 4 teams each. And it then is narrowed down then to the 16 best teams in all of college baseball that then play at 8 different super regional sites across the country. And it's best 2 out of 3 from those series. And then that forms the field of 8 that goes to Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series. So we'll talk briefly just about the super regionals that happen and what I think were the highlights of these super regionals, just what you should know on them. Don't want to keep y'all too long on this. No, we're ultimately here for Omaha. We are here for the Elite 8 teams that made it in. That's where the most storylines are. That's what's about to happen in just a couple days now. But we do need to recap how those teams got to this point. So starting overall, the number 1 overall seeded team in the country in the NCAA tournament continued on to super regionals and hosting the Knoxville Super Regional, and that was the Tennessee Vols against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This was the series that was the big story. Ultimately, in Tennessee's season coming to an end here, Notre Dame taking 2 of 3, taking the first game, Tennessee coming back to get game 2, and then the Vols taking game 3 there to ultimately advance to Omaha for the first time in 20 years. So in game one, Notre Dame comes out of that game swinging, quite literally. They get a base hit out to left field there, off Tennessee's starting pitcher. Uh, Irish got home runs in each of the first four innings in that game one of the Super Regional. Um, and the Vols offense kind of picked it up towards the end of the game, but the Irish got out early and kept that lead there. It was 8-6 final. Really good performances by guys like third baseman Jack Brannigan, first baseman Carter Putz, second baseman Jared Miller. Um, they're just Vols had performance was really held ultimately to just a few guys, notably Jordan Beck, Trey Lipscomb, Terrell Ortega. All did a good job for the Vols in there, but just ultimately couldn't come back there in the end. Game two went much more the Vols' way with a 12-4 victory by Tennessee. But game three then was a final of 7-3 by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That takes them to Omaha. Just Tennessee got kind of exposed a little bit. Tennessee plays a brand of baseball that is very, very power heavy. It's very friendly for that ballpark that they're in. And Notre Dame is certainly built more on defense. And they did that, but they also were very smart with situational hitting and small ball and being able to play offense in multiple ways. Notre Dame just kind of came into this tournament with a chip on their shoulder, being snubbed out of what probably should have been a hosting spot back in regionals a couple of weeks ago, and so they had to go on the road to Statesboro. They defeated Boom and I's Texas Tech Red Raiders out there. They win that regional on the road, and they get to super regionals, and they're playing with that chip on their shoulder. They're the hottest team in baseball right now. Tennessee has been playing kind of more like they peaked, like the wheels, did fall off ultimately, and it's a horrible disappointment for the Tennessee fan base, and really, I think for what a lot of us saw in college baseball, for this team to not make it to the College World Series. But Notre Dame really was just playing like the hottest team in all of baseball, and everything came together for them. Like the wheels didn't things didn't absolutely fall apart for Tennessee over the last month of the year, but they certainly weren't playing their best baseball by any stretch. And that just was the home field advantage, the passionate Vols out there, the greatness of this Tennessee team. Once again, it's going to be 23 straight years that the number one overall seed is not going to win the College World Series. Last team to do that is 1999 Miami Hurricanes, and since then it has not happened. Won multiple teams since there's been a number one seed that has had their season end early before getting to Omaha. And that's tough, and that's the sport of college baseball. But congratulations to the Vols. Congratulations to the Irish. Moving on to the College World Series. Like I said, it's third all-time appearance at the College World Series, first in 20 years. Congrats to Link Jarrett and his squad from South Bend. They continue on. They're one of the Elite Eight in college baseball this year. Moving on to the Stanford Super Regional, number two overall, Stanford Cardinal going up against the UConn Huskies. UConn looking to be the first Upper East Coast team in 10 years since Stony Brook to make the College World Series. In game one, it was an offensive performance from both teams. It was a 13-12 Huskies victory. That there was definitely a little bit of sweating going on there out on the farm in Palo Alto, just because of the fact that 80% of the time, the team that wins the first game, game one of the Super Regional, makes it on Omaha. But the Cardinal would come back in games 2 and 3. They get an 8-2 victory in game 2 and then a 10-5 victory in game 3. Stanford would then punch their ticket to the College World Series. That's back-to-back trips for the Cardinal. Talked with Barrett about this before. I didn't give the Cardinal a whole lot of credit. I thought the Pac-12 conference was good. They weren't great this year. The Cardinal, I thought, had a very specific type of ball that was really pitching heavy. I just thought the Huskies were the hotter team coming in comparatively to Stanford, although both teams pretty hot, all things considered. But Stanford proved me wrong. They just look great all around in the game. And they're moving on to Omaha, back-to-back years now here, also going to Omaha last year as well. So the Corvallis Regional, the number 3 overall seeded Oregon State Beavers hosting number 14 overall seeded Auburn Tigers. This one here, first game went 7-5 to the Auburn Tigers, and this one was just very much a toss up for me of what I predicted going into it. But Auburn gets that first game victory 7-5. Game 2, the Oregon State Beavers narrowly squeezed it out 4-3. Game 3, the Tigers would then take it home 4-3. So once again, this team lives up to this Tiger team going on the road lives up to the to how it has historically been. That you win game 1 80% of the time. You're going to go to Omaha. Auburn, gets 2 out of 3. The Beavers come back in game 2 to send it ultimately to that rubber match in game 3. But the Tigers just came out as the better team. They could play things close. They've got star power with guys like Sonny DeShara. Really good stuff on the mound. Look at this as an Auburn team that could definitely do some damage in Omaha this year. Credit to Bush Thompson's squad. Really good job. They're headed back to Omaha again. They were last there in 2019. The Blacksburg Regional for number 4 overall seeded Virginia Tech Hokies versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Game 1, it was very much the Jake Bennett show for Oklahoma. Starting pitcher for him, for the Sooners, came out and he just held his own throughout really much of the game. Virginia Tech would try and mount a comeback late, but the final would be 5-4. The Sooners on top. Notable performances: second baseman Jackson Nicholas out of Oklahoma, 2 hits and 2 runs. Designated hitter Brett Squires, 2 hits, 2 runs, and a run batted in. Left fielder the speedy Kendall Pettis with 2 hits and 2 runs batted in. Jake Bennett, once again, he has the win, credit to him, and then Trevor Michael credited with the save. Tanner Schobel from the Huskies did have a hit and a run. Left fielder Jack Hurley had 2 hits, 2 runs batted in, and 1 run. The catcher Cade Hunter with 1 hit and 1 run. And then the right fielder Carson Jones with 1 hit, 2 runs batted in, and 1 run. Game 2, the Hokies, they were punched in the mouth, but really kind of as they showed throughout the season, they get punched in the mouth, they're going to find a way to punch back and really find their offense. Well, that game was 14-8 Hokies, but Oklahoma came into game 3, and they showed they were for real. It was a final of 11-2. The Oklahoma Sooners, they're heading back to the College World Series for the first time in 12 years. A really great season by Skip Johnson's squad. And Norman continues. And so, a dream season for like the best season ever for the Virginia Tech Hokies baseball season. Comes up just short of Omaha, but salute to y'all Hokies. Did an incredible job. John Sefich is a great coach up there in Blacksburg. That program has a bright future for sure. The College Station Regional. This was the number 5 overall Texas A&M Aggies versus the number 12 overall Louisville Cardinals. Game 1 was very much a pitcher's duel mixed in with some sloppy situational hitting from the Texas A&M Aggies. A&M left the bases loaded in 4 different innings during the game, but in the end, the bottom of the ninth, it was the former Oregon State Beaver, transfer into Texas A&M himself, Troy Claunch, came through. Might as well call him Troy Clutch here on this one when it matters the most. The bases were loaded, bottom of the ninth. He gets a base hit to walk off A&M. The Aggies win game 1, 5-4. Some notable performances: the first baseman Jack Moss from the Aggies, 3 for 6. Troy Claunch, 2 for 4. Center fielder Jordan Thompson, 2 for 4. Starting pitcher Nathan Detmer had a really good outing. Relief pitcher Joseph Menifee came in and held his own, and then Jacob Polish got the save. Cardinals, Ben Metzinger, the third baseman, went 3 for 5, and Carson Masterman 3 for 4. But you have guys that can put together good performances like that. But game final is ultimately 5-4. Sure, both teams leaving a lot of guys on base, but the Aggies coming through when it matters the most. They take game 1. In game 2, ultimately this game would be also a very close game. The Aggies would get the win 4-3. Had noble performances by guys once again like Jack Moss, 2 for 5. Ryan Target 1-for-4. The second baseman, right fielder Brett Minich, 1-for-4. Shortstop Cole Kaler, 1-for-4. Micah Dallas held his own now on the mound. Guys like Christian Knapsick, Ben Metzger, Dalton Rushing, all had pretty good days. But once again, this was the Aggies have had a season driven by pitching and offense when it matters the most. This was no different. The Aggies have the entire weekend were the first team to get to 2 wins and punch their ticket to the College World Series. This is Jim Schlossnagle, the longtime TCU head coach. His first season with the Aggies, he gets in their 7th College World Series appearance and back to Omaha in his first season with the program after they missed regionals last year altogether in 2021. What a job Schloss and his staff did. Just incredible performance to this point right now by the Aggies in the postseason. Tip of the hat to them. Out to Hattiesburg, the 11 overall seeded Southern Miss Golden Eagles versus the Ole Miss Rebels, the Rebels of which were the very last team, number 64 overall team in the field. And then ultimately it was just the Ole Miss show the entire weekend. 10-0 game 1 Ole Miss, 5-0 performance in game 2 for Ole Miss. They go on to the College World Series for the first time in 8 years. Head coach Mike Bianco's second College World Series appearance with this program. From the last team in the field to making Omaha for the first time in 8 years. Compare that to the number 1 overall seeded team heading into the postseason, the Tennessee Vols. They're staying home at this point. College baseball, it's a wild sport, folks. Anything can happen. That's why these games are played once the postseason comes around. So the Chapel Hill Regional, number 10 overall North Carolina Tar Heels, the Diamond Heels, they affectionately call them, and then the Arkansas Razorbacks. For game 1 of this Super Regional, if you looked up getting hot at the right time in the college baseball dictionary, you'll see a picture of the 2022 Arkansas Razorbacks team next to it. It's an old school, low scoring game 1, 4-1 Razorbacks take it. They then take game 2 as well with a walk-off base hit to end it 4-3 for the Razorbacks in game 2. They head back to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska now. This Razorbacks team hot at the right time. A lot of talented pieces there. They just, they were an 18-win team in the SEC this year in conference play, but they just flew under the radar the entire time because they didn't have those sort of explosive performances throughout all their series like we expected this team to have going into the year with the firepower that they were bringing in. But they're getting the job done when it matters the most here, and they're heading back to Omaha. And then finally, the Greenville Super Regional, number 8 overall seed East Carolina Pirates versus the number 9 overall seeded Texas Longhorns. Pete Hansen struggles in game 1 to go deep into the game for Texas, but CJ Mayhew has a phenomenal starting performance for the Pirates. Pirates offense was red hot. They take game 1, 13-7. Game 2, Texas star Lucas Gordon only makes it 4 innings before leading the game. It looks like the Longhorns are dead in the water. They get a bunch of and it looked like the Pirates were about to punch their ticket finally to the College World Series after all these years of making it to the postseason, but falling just short to Omaha. But the Longhorns will rally back. Have a lot of really good performances, from guys like Ivan Melendez, Skylar Messinger, Douglas Hodo III. Those guys just really all came through when this mattered the most. Really tightened up their fielding there and defense at the end, and along with pitching to end it. And the Longhorns would get the 9-8 win to fight another day. In game 3, we finally get vintage Tristan Stevens from this Longhorns program, like we had seen throughout much of earlier in the year. And it was 11-1 win by the Longhorns in that game 3. They go on to Omaha for the 38th time in their program history. Talked about this historical Longhorns program before. for Boom and I, they're the evil empire here in the Big 12, soon to be moving to the SEC. But sure enough, this is a historic college baseball program, an all-time great. David Pierce just continues to do a great job with these teams he gets every year. Back-to-back Omaha appearances for them. The Longhorns move on. And so, looking back at the projections that Boom and I had for Omaha and the field of 8 that would go out to Nebraska for the College World Series, I predicted it would be Tennessee, UConn, Oregon State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Southern Miss, Arkansas, and East Carolina. Obviously, out of those 8 that I predicted, only Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas made it through. Boom was the same, albeit having some different picks between us. Once again, only had 3 teams that made it out of his predictions to the College World Series, that being Stanford, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. So the field, just kind of highlighting what these programs are bringing in here into the field of 8. Notre Dame for the Fighting Irish, this is their 3rd overall College World Series appearance, their first in 20 years since 2002. Stanford is making their 18th College World Series appearance. This is back-to-back appearances. Their last title coming in 1988. Auburn has their 6th College World Series appearance. Now, this is their first since 2019. Oklahoma is making their 11th College World Series appearance, their first since 2010, and their last title came in 1994. Stanford, their last title was 1988. Texas A&M, this is their 7th College World Series appearance, their first since 2017. Ole Miss, their 6th College World Series appearance, first since 2014. Arkansas, their 11th College World Series appearance, first since 2019. They've been runner-up twice in 1979 and 2018. We all remember that famous, what should have been a pop fly out to end it and win it for the Razorbacks over Oregon State. And fortunately, could not make that catch back in 2018. Forces a winner-take-all game. They would drop that game. Oregon State would get their 3rd College World Series title that year. Arkansas would go home as runner-up again. So they've yet to still win it all, but the Razorbacks have a chance again to do so this year. And then the Texas Longhorns, as I said, 38th College World Series appearance, back-to-back appearances. And their last title was back in 2005, so they're seeking their first in 17 years. That famous Augie Garrido-led team back in 2005. Normally I would have I'd have Barrett making his predictions along with mine here, but so just before I get into my predictions here, ultimately knowing what the understanding what the bracket is going to be here. So there's what was called bracket 1, which has been the left side of the bracket to this point. And then there's bracket 2, which has been the right side of the bracket to this point. So bracket 1 is 4 teams, the 4 best teams from the left side, and then bracket 2, the 4 best teams from the right side. So bracket 1, Texas A&M, Texas A&M, Texas, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. Bracket 2, Stanford, Auburn, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. If you just Google NCAA baseball tournaments, it should be one of like the first couple links that comes up directly from the NCAA. You can click that. You can take a look at what we're looking at here on this show, and understanding kind of the visual of what this will play out here. So bracket 1, 6 p.m. Friday, 1 p.m. actually started on this bracket on Friday afternoon. You've got Texas A&M that will face up against Oklahoma. And then Texas will move on to Texas will face off against Notre Dame. And this is double elimination here. So the losers of those games will go into an elimination bracket. And so the first team to 0-2 is the first team out of the College World Series this year, and works the same kind of way. Back on the other side of the bracket, if I can pull up the correct side of the bracket. 1 o'clock on Saturday, you'll have Stanford and Arkansas facing off against each other. And then at 6 p.m. that evening, you'll have Ole Miss and Auburn facing off against each other. As I said, lose that game, you head into the elimination bracket. Lose 2 in a row, you're out. My prediction ultimately here for the College World Series. So just thinking about this field of eight that we have here. Yeah, you've got a couple of the hottest team. You got a few really. Well, I mean, everybody's considered hot at this point, but um, out of bracket one, I look at the hottest teams going in here are Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Um, and then on in bracket two, on the other side of the bracket, I see the hottest teams heading in are Ole Miss and Auburn. Um, Out of that, my predictions here for game one. I think the first thing to be knocked out of the College World Series this year is going to be Texas A&M. I think in this on the left side here, the bracket in bracket one, I see Texas and Oklahoma moving on to the winners bracket, but they will. But then that's going to send Oklahoma and Notre Dame to the losers bracket. I think Notre Dame will get the excuse me, that's going to send Notre Dame and Texas A&M to the losers bracket, and I think then Notre Dame will advance out of the losers bracket to fight another day. But A&M, they had a great journey to this point to get to the College World Series. However, I think that team is just a little bit too pitching heavy, not enough situational hitting, maybe requiring a bit too much power at times. And the way that the ballpark out there in Omaha plays, it's really large. It's rather cavernous, kind of swallows up offense. Uh, it's a very shrewd park to play in. So I think that just fits better teams like Texas and Oklahoma ultimately to make it on to the winners bracket. And then I think Notre Dame is a bit more horses and a little bit more well-rounded of a team to fall to advance out of the losers bracket to fight another day. But great story for Texas A&M. They had an incredible year. But out of these teams, who do I ultimately see winning it all here? And my prediction for the final in the College World Series, and when the final comes around here, that is the best of three. So it'll be game three if necessary. If one team wins its first two games, they're automatically the champion. But once the teams that I have projecting to make it to the championship matchup here in this year's College World Series, my prediction is Oklahoma and versus Ole Miss. I think Oklahoma's just absolute dream season is going to continue. And Ole Miss is going to show continually that they have that they have just all the talents and all the hot pieces that came together at the right time here, just barely in the field. But I can take it. To the College World Series final. But my prediction in three games in the best of three, Oklahoma will be the 2022 College World Series championship team. Why do I pick Oklahoma over Ole Miss? I just think that they have the best offense. I think they have the bbest situational. They have the best situational hitting. They have incredibly stout defense. These guys are great at fielding. Putting up shifts when necessary. They steal bases like it's absolutely nobody's business. Yeah, you've got guys like Peyton Graham, Tanner Treadway, Kendall Pettis, just absolutely phenomenal in that regard. They're going to move their offense. They're going to play stout defense. They've got the pitching that is absolutely coming together as a strength at the right time here for this team. They've had to go on the road. Both programs had to go on the road, regionals and super regionals. So they're well battle tested by this point here heading into the College World Series. But I think Oklahoma has the slight edge, just of a bit more complete team. And my prediction for the most outstanding player with Oklahoma being the 2022 College World Series champions is going to be Peyton Graham, the infielder. Peyton Graham has upwards of a 330 batting average on the season, 20 home runs, 32 stolen bases. He's an incredible piece in this offensive production here for this Oklahoma team. I think that he's going to be seen as the difference here for Oklahoma, making it to the College World Series final and ultimately being the champion of it all. And he's going to put up some monster numbers and performance here over this week in Omaha. Well, friends, that's it. Quick and dirty, right at it here for y'all on this episode of No Doubter, our weekly college baseball recap. we'll come to you again next week with an update of how things are progressing out in Omaha, and then in a couple weeks a wrapping it all up of looking at what transpired in Omaha, recapping the entire thing, how it went down, who the champion was, our thoughts on that. Boom and I will be back for both of those. We cannot appreciate y'all enough for joining us here on this broadcast tonight. Once again, sorry it's just me. Barrett wasn't feeling great tonight, so I stepped in. Got to get the job done. We're teammates. We pick each other up where need be. And it's always a pleasure doing this podcast with him. Can't wait to have him back on the other side again very soon. If y'all could just do us a favor here as we're wrapping up this week's episode of No Doubter. So we tell y'all to do all the time. Make sure that you're not missing out here in the program that we're bringing to you. Make sure that you're subscribed wherever you're getting your podcasts, that you're looped in with our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Boom and I are on Twitter as well at BoomBostic21 and Travis Loftley. We post things about baseball on there. We give looks into our personal lives and other things that we like as well. Connect with us there. Follow us. We do those broadcasts through those pages as well. Take a look at our Patreon, please. We revamped those levels there. We can bring you an even greater level of access with No Doubter. We would love to build a community of people that are passionate about the sport of baseball there. With your help, financial support on that side of things, it helps ensure we can continue to bring you more of your favorite baseball content. We want to give a shout out to a couple of guys that are on that side of things, helping us out here. And you're shouted out if you join our Patreon. You get these shout outs here as just being a visible and amplified part of making No Doubter possible. And we do that for two guys right now: Tad Bostic, our longest standing patron, and then Don Hale, our Patreon producer. Tad and Don, thank y'all so much. Don typically tunes in with us here since it's little funny comments and stuff, and we appreciate having these guys as part of our programming. Take a look at our merch store through our partner at TeePublic. They've done a fantastic job of putting together different merch items like t-shirts, baseball shirts, hoodies, crew neck sweatshirts, phone cases, many more items with the No Doubter logo on them. You can help spread the word when you're out and about, at the office, whatever it is. With something with the No Doubter logo on it, and help tell people about what we're doing here with our show. You'll see all those important links in the description below. I'm Travis Devon Loftley. Barrett Boom Bostic will be back again next time. We've had a really fun time tonight talking about college baseball. And whatever you're doing in your week, we're going to see some great offensive performances coming up here in Omaha. You might not play baseball, but you can approach it with that same mentality. Be calculated at the plate. Take the good, the bad, the challenging, whatever it is in your life. Just with a calculated, methodical approach. You got this. You're in the positions that you're in for a reason. Approach it well, and if you give it all, you might just truly swing for the fences. Maybe bat 400 in the process. It's the No Doubter way, folks. We know you can do it. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Take care.